Reggie, what's up?
What's going on, brother? What is going on, my man? We had a great
You know,
weekend.
yeah, great
Oh,
weekend. Ryan and I heard that influencers are making a lot of cake doing movie reviews. So we figured we'd change from sales chatter to movie chatter
love it.
and
Movie chatter.
movie chatter. You see, that was on the
Well, I
fly,
feel like
brother.
we
That
can do
was on
that,
the fly.
movie chatter on Mondays, book chatter on Fridays, and then got that little sandwich of some sales like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? So,
Well, I mean, here's the thing. In every movie, now I might just be morbid like this, but even in last night's or this weekend's movie, we both went to see Strays. Um, and I kind of picked up some life lessons because I think they're always in the movies, right? And so I'll let you start because you came up with this idea, and I think it's a great idea. So, what did you think of the movie in general?
yeah, so I gotta acknowledge a couple things first of all. Shout out to all the parents that brought their kids into this movie thinking it was a
What?
kids movie. Like we were just brother, there was so many little kids in that movie yesterday. Yeah, my wife, my sister, and I we went and saw the movie, and just seeing like all the little kids in there. And first and foremost, like the trailers. Let's start with the trailers first and foremost. The trailers. You had The Nun. You had Saw. You had all these horror movies because obviously we're gearing up for Halloween now. So you had
Yeah.
all these. So if that didn't give you an indication of where this movie's gonna go, then God bless. So
Did you see
I we
the
saw.
Exorcist trailer and stuff
Yes,
too? The new
yes,
Exorcist trailer? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
That looks
And did you
awesome, man.
see the Bob Marley movie trailer?
No, we didn't get the Bob Marley trailer.
Oh, so there's a new Bob Marley movie coming out in
What?
2024. Really looks really good. From what I gather from the trailer, it's right about the time where he's set to go on stage and then get shot. Like it's that period of time in his life for the movement in Jamaica, the peace movement in Jamaica,
Yep.
and where he got shot, and then they're like, "You're not going to go on stage." He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm going to go sing. I'm going to do what I was put here to do," kind of thing. So it's at that time period, which looks really cool. Really, I would have thought they would show
Ooh.
the same previews in the movie, but
No, we
anyways,
got different. So what did I get? We got the one about the GameStop. That one looks really good. About the GameStop, like the store. So remember, like last year they had like
yeah,
the
yeah.
stocks, like all this stuff. So that one's gonna be really really cool. So we saw that one. We saw the three
There's
horror
one on
ones.
Netflix about it.
But this was an
Is
actual
it?
movie. So like
Oh,
Seth
this is an
Rogen,
actual
like
movie.
actually,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of good people, like a lot of great actors and actresses in this one. So that one looks really interesting. And what do we? Yeah, we had those three horror movies. I think it just went straight into the movie. But yeah, shout out to this movie, man. This movie was amazing. I loved it. It reminded me of Good Boys. So if anybody who's seen Good Boys, it was exactly the same kind of humor and stuff like that. I thought it was awesome. And like you said, there's a lot of life lessons, and we'll get into this because we're talking about a movie like there. But it's just to show you like that the first like two opening scene, you're like, oh man, this is gonna be a rough ride. This is gonna be rough when our buddy Reggie, who's the main character, getting everything like that. So overall, Dan, what you think of the movie? And let's get into like what you learned from the lessons because I think this is where we can all kind of take from it as
So
well.
I immediately came home and wanted to play catch and fuck with the dogs. Um, Immediately,
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if this is gonna happen or if they're just gonna hang out and chill and be like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to. Um, it's funny because both my wife and I said halfway through the movie, said we want to go home and hug our dog. We want to go home and pet our dogs because just the way Reggie was treated, right? But I mean, to me, it was so funny. Um, I had a blast, like just laughing and laughing and laughing. And I part of me thinks it's because obviously, I mean, we're dog lovers.
Yep.
Um, and just hearing what they, like any movie where you get to hear what animals think, quote unquote, because who knows? But even, the dog in the park that comes up to um, what's his name, to Hunter, and Hunter's like huge, and this dog's like so small. So they have that small dog complex that we all talk like as dog owners we talk about. Some of the he's walking through the alley, and hey, you ever had any Afghan? And
And we're gonna keep this PG rated, even though it's an R-rated movie today. We're gonna keep it pretty
but
PG.
but here's so it's funny you said there was a lot of parents that brought their kids because the first thing Christine and I said was, "Oh my gosh!" Like there was one family there, and the kids were about 13, 14. But when our kids, so I think Brendan was 9 or 10 and Jessica was maybe 8, and Grown Ups came out. And we're like, oh my gosh, this would be a great movie for the kids. And we never watched the trailer. We just, sorry, we did watch the trailer, but there was like none of the, like in the Strays trailer, it's not a kid's
Yeah,
movie,
yeah,
right?
you know what to expect. Yeah.
Yeah. But so we brought them, and I think within like literally 5 minutes of the movie starting, my wife and I were like sunk in our chairs and our heads barely above the top of the chair because we were like, oh my gosh, we're Moy and Doys. How do we bring our kids to this movie? Because I don't know if you remember Grown Ups, but one of the first parts is like the tooth fairy is not real. And my daughter still believed in the tooth fairy. And it was like, it was incredible how much of a, as a parent, you're like, oh my God, we're horrible. So I couldn't imagine how
No.
those people felt unless they knew going in, but I couldn't imagine
No,
how
no, no,
they
they
felt.
definitely didn't. They didn't seem the type to see it. And it's funny because like anytime we remind this, so my mom used to take us like to the movies quite a bit. Oh, our parents do, but like during the day, if like she was off from work, we take like we used to call it the flag bus. So it's a bus that used to come across and we'd go to Pickering Town Center. So there was one time I picked the movie, and brother, I was like 7 or 8, and the movie was called Mod Squad. The first 5 seconds is an adult scene. And my mom was like, okay, nope, we're getting out of here. So we ended up going and seeing the cartoon movie Doug, and it sucked. But it was just so funny. So when because my sister came with us, she, as soon as everything kind of happened, she's like, oh, this is Mod Squad all over again. So you just have those inside jokes with like your family and stuff like that. But yeah, I really, first and foremost. So what I really liked about it, and I died about it, was anybody who's seen A Dog's Purpose and A Dog's Journey. I love that they brought back the same narrator when he's narrating at the carnival. So they did a rib on that. Dennis Quaid was the main actor.
Dog.
Yeah, he was. So that's the same voice from it. So they definitely ribbed on it. Dennis Quaid is the main actor from A Dog's Purpose. So they brought him to do the bird thing. Like it was just, I feel like we need to get back into that in terms of movies. Like I love movies, I love everything we get, but like I just need a movie to like just shut my mind off and just laugh.
Yeah.
So like it's like one of those like Carol and Kumar movies. You're not going there for like amazing acting or like pivotal Oscar award. You're just going there to freaking laugh, and it was just such a spectacular movie. Great messages. I'll start with the first one. It was kind of a sad story though.
Before you go there, did you find that they really pounded on? Come to the movies, see it in the big screen. Come to the movies. Did you find that at the beginning of the movie? Like not at the beginning, but the pre-show. And maybe you guys had a different pre-show, but we found that they were pumping them like get back to the movie theater, get back to seeing it on the big screen. Like everything was all about that.
Well, you didn't know about this, but yesterday was actually $4 for all movies, like every single movie across North America, across Canada. So it's $4, like VIP, D box, everything was sold out. And the only reason why we went and saw Strays, like it was a last minute decision by us, but Strays didn't have that much. It was like the only movie that wasn't sold out. So we went and saw it. So I think it's just because of the timing too, right? When you think about it, like you look at the movie theater, we talk about it quite a bit, the movie theater experience right now, everything's overpriced. My wife and I, we went to go see we're movie buffs. My wife and I, we love to go to the movies. Like that's our thing. Totally. So what movie did we see? We saw a movie a couple weeks ago. And brother, like no word of a lie, I probably spent like $100, like popcorn.
Did you see Oppenheimer?
No. Oh no, it wasn't Barbie. No, I didn't want to see. I don't like. And here's the thing: another good thing about Strays that is like relative to like Oppenheimer. I love not long movies. Like this movie was only like an hour and 20 minutes. Just to be mindless. But like Oppenheimer, these 3-hour movies, man. I'll only do a 3-hour movie for like let's say like a Marvel movie or something like that. Something I really really want to see. Right, but like I can't justify like being in theaters for like 3 hours to watch a movie that I don't really care about.
Yeah, I mean, the movie was very interesting, very interesting. But again, I've always said for any true story, I wish at the end they would say, "This is real. This is what Hollywood put in. This is real. This is what Hollywood put in." Because I think it would make for a better story at the end, like because. Based on a true story, and then you walk out of the movie not really knowing what was Hollywood's creation and what actually happened, right?
Yeah, I always kind of search that too. Shout out to those people who make those articles though. Like there's a lot of people who make like those bloggers make those articles of, like dissecting it. Okay, well, this was real, this wasn't real. Because for me, the one that I had to like quote unquote fact check was I think it was The Haunting of Emily Rose or something like that. It was basically a girl who gets possessed, but it actually turned out to be like a court drama. you know, it wasn't what the trailer said, and like kind of going back and forth. Even The Conjuring, I'm not sure if you're a horror fan or anything like that, but The
No.
Conjuring I think is real. Like it's a real story that they've
Oh, really?
yeah,
But
like
don't they?
they
Oh
actually,
no, that's Insidious. They got like 3 or 4 of them now.
yeah, not I don't think Insidious is real, but Conjuring, the first, especially with the doll and stuff like that, that was definitely real from there. So, but coming back to your point, I think they definitely are pushing it because this is the time that they're the one time that movie theaters are competing with other activities, you know, the outdoor activities and things like that. And you know, the
Yeah.
movies is always such a safe bet. You know, you look at holidays when things like Labor Day's on Monday. What's guaranteed? Like certain malls to be open, the aquarium, the zoo, and movie theaters, right? And the movie
Yep.
theaters is more accessible. So I just think like they're always kind of pushing it just because they can, you know, I think they make more money off the concessions. They don't really make money off the movie tickets, so they don't really care about that.
Uh,
But it's just like but man, brother, like we spent so much money in like concessions, and it's like,
concessions are crazy. Like I didn't realize popcorn was so expensive.
yeah,
And yeah, like it's crazy,
but
crazy.
it's so
Okay,
worth it though,
so
so worth it.
it is, especially when you get butter in the middle and on top.
Oh yeah, that's what we do,
Um,
man. But then my heart starts to hurt a little bit, you know, heart starts to hurt a little bit. But
oh, it
yeah,
comes in
Jenna,
a
let's get to it, man.
defibrillator.
Would
Do you
you
not get defibrillators on in your with your popcorn?
well, they say it's like a buy 10, get one free. Like get that one free defibrillator. So we're not quite there yet. We haven't punched it in. I think we're on number 8 or 9 of or Keisha's in the comment is in probably watching,
That's
so she
hilarious.
could probably attest to it if we're getting close to it. But yeah, man, there
So,
was
life
something
lesson
about it.
number 1 that I cut you off on. What was that?
Yeah, for me is that you know our perspective, our lenses of people, of customers. Like I always want to relate this back to sales chatter because it is sales, but like our team, like everything like that can be like rose colored, right? So for anybody who hasn't seen it, we're not here to spoil it, but one of the biggest things is that like Reggie, who's like the main character, he believes that he has this love with his owner, but then when you actually start watching it, the owner is kind of a piece of crap. But then he always had that rose color glasses of like, you know, this is my human, this is my person. So I started to think about like when we got home and stuff like that. It's just, you know, whenever I kind of think, oh my god, this customer is the best, you know, and kind of relate it to back like they, you know, they do everything for me, or we're just moving so much, we got so many orders coming in, you know, you had like 5 or 10 orders coming in, but you're only making like $50 GP off of each one, and you're like, hey, what really happened here? So that understanding and that level of awareness that he gets at the end of the movie, and he kind of understands there, I start to like think about, okay, what about my sales, you know, what about the things that we're doing on our show and doing in life and with Bridger and all that stuff, making sure that we attract and we understand at what level we are at every single point. We're not trying to be like trying to glaze it over and like build it up when it like, you know, live in
Well, get
reality.
those rose-colored glasses and you know, kind of Pollyanna style, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. What about you, brother?
Right. So, I love that you said that because I think um, it all starts with not necessarily a perception, but going through things to make you realize, right? So, living experiences like what Reggie lived, you know, got saved by his best friends, and all of a sudden starts to realize this relationship that I thought was great really isn't. And you know, you talk about relating it back to sales, and how many of us have got a customer thought, oh, this is awesome, and then got another customer that really treats us like a supplier, like a partner, like a teammate. And it's like, oh my gosh. Or we have a friend, and then we get another friend who really treats us like a friend, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is the way friendships are. And I
Even
lived
companies,
this.
companies too. Yeah.
Companies, very good call, Ryan. Companies are huge. I remember, you know, when we did the whole 30 days, if you were to lose everything, there was a few people that said, you know, I would figure out the best fit with the company. Forget anything else. Like, where does the culture, where do I fit in like glue into a culture? Um, the second thing for me was um, being happy. You know, one of the things that Bug came out and said is like, and the best part is you can do whatever you want to do whenever you want. Like, we're not restrained to a backyard. We're not like we're free. And I started thinking about that from a business perspective, right? Like you look at Zuckerberg now. He's mandating everybody to come back to the office at Meta. Everyone, like mandated. So to me, lack of a better term, Ryan, it's like a jail, right?
Yeah.
Because you're mandated now. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there's going to be people out there that are like, well, you know, it's business. he has real estate, he's got affiliate, and I understand all that. But I think, like, when I first started in the industry, you were pretty much in the office. Like, that's what it was. Everything
Yeah.
was in the office. We didn't have laptops. We didn't have VPNs to log in. We didn't have any of that. And, I remember going to a company, and I had to actually write it in my contract to say, I want the system on my laptop because I'm not going to be working 5 days a week from the office. And they
Mm.
gave it to me. And then before I knew it, I was in the office 5 days a week. And when I would be out of the office, it would be, why aren't you in the office? And to me, that freedom part, more than anything, I think the freedom part helps you express your creativity by changing your scenery.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but even going out back, like you go out back into your backyard and work.
Yep.
I go out in my backyard. Before that, I would go to coffee shops. Like, I
Yep.
would literally go to meetings 2 hours early, and I would sit in a Starbucks, and I'd work on my laptop, and I'd make phone calls from the Starbucks. And it was just, to me, it was that change of the everyday norm, change of having salespeople walk into my office and try and waste my time.
Yep.
Just changed it. And to me, that was one of the biggest things is like, it starts with, this is scary, right? He's walking through the alley, and it's like, it feels like it's like New York City, where it's like, oh my God, there's like crime everywhere, cats here. And it
The
just reminded me of,
Rottweiler. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it just reminded me of Bug going, when they're walking down the street, he's going, you.
Yeah. To the old people, right? To the poor old lady who did nothing to them, right? That was one of the awesome things. But then I want
Sorry,
to talk about
I got
changing
totally off
environments. It
topic.
was kind of cool to like change environments, because I did that last week. Shout out to Krishna if you're watching. We went to like a university, and then we just kind of like rented out a room, and we just worked there, and that was some of the most productive hours I've ever had. Both of us got so much done, and the cool thing too, and it was kind of a decision I made, because like we both were gonna meet anyways, but we decided, hey, we're not gonna go for lunch. I wasn't gonna go meet at his place or something. I was like, we got to be at a neutral place, knowing that we got to get shit done, and it just flowed, man. Like, I wish, like,
Yeah.
the time to me just flew. It really did. And I think the one thing, like you're talking about, related back to like Reggie and Bug, is just when you're in an environment, it's like you just got to adapt to it. You got
Yeah.
to figure out the surroundings, and you got to make it your own. You truly have to make it
Yeah.
your own. And I don't remember, to be honest with you, being in the office 5 days a week, because that was so long ago to me. But then it was just
Yeah.
like, be in that situation. And then, people, I was talking to a good friend about this too, and they were saying, like, like the companies that are great, that you can go in like once a week and stuff like that. But then when I started doing that, like being remote, but then going once a week, that day wasn't a productive day at all. It was more of to kind of go
Yeah.
shoot the shit, meet everybody, say what's up, get caught up on how they're doing in their lives and their customers and stuff like that, go out for a nice lunch, and then go home. There was nothing like, and there was no prospecting getting done while I was there. So you got to kind of take it however you want to take it. But I think
I mean,
changing
you're a bit
environments.
far from your office, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a big difference. Like, you had almost 3 hours of driving that day, probably closer to 4 if I had to guess, with traffic.
Yeah.
But um, you know, there's one thing, Ryan, and I'm just gonna challenge you to change your perspective here for a second. Is it was productive because you were building relationships. It just wasn't productive in a salesperson's mindset.
I agree.
Because a salesperson like you, specifically like you, like, there's different salespeople out there that would much rather go and do that 3 days a week than have to pick up a phone and make a sales call, right? Like, we all know that. We know that
Yeah.
part of it. But for you, you're the go-getter. You're the one that's like, okay, I want to do X amount of touches. I want to do X amount a day, because that's, again, we go back to, Ryan, what keeps you up at night? You're like, nothing, because I did everything in my power today to make today successful. And that's your mentality.
Yeah.
But you were doing something really important, which was building those relationships with your team that you never see, that you communicate via email or
Oh yeah,
phone.
it was invaluable time, Dan. It was honestly the best,
Yeah,
and I don't want to say it was a negative. That's why I said it wasn't productive, but productive doesn't need to be negative. Like it was amazing to
exactly.
like go out with the like ops or like CS person, go for lunch, and get to learn about them. Like get to learn about their family, get to learn about what they do on their free time and things like that. So it wasn't a complete waste of time. It was just like I knew when I was planning out my weeks. And by the way, everybody who's doing this, plan your weeks out on Sundays, my friends. Don't wake up Monday morning and do it. So when I'm planning out Sunday, I'm like, okay, well Friday is gonna be like lack of better
A
terms, but
write off.
we are reviewing an R-rated movie, so I can say it was kind of like a fuck off day, right? So
Yep.
it really
It's a
was.
write off.
So
You're
yeah.
not going to prospect. You're not going to, nothing from that productivity level, nothing from that progression level that Ryan wants for more sales is going to come from going on Friday. Now, it's going to nurture customers. It's going to give you better customer service. It's going to give you better, so your retention is going to be longer. But for you, the productivity comes from closing new accounts.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
That's where the money is in the follow up, baby. I gotta follow up. You don't follow up, you're not gonna
Yeah.
get to where
Life's
you want to
golden
get.
ticket equals what? Follow up.
Ah, there we
Yes,
go,
sir.
baby.
Yes,
Get some
sir.
more of
So
that
here's
better.
the thing. In the end, um, one of the so and see, I got to be very careful what I say because I don't want to give it away.
Of course.
But um, in the end, everybody goes with what actually is going to make them happy.
Mhm.
And that to me was a huge thing, especially from Reggie. And I'll just leave it at that because you would have thought it would have been the reverse, right? Bug would have been the one, and no, and I know I'm probably sounding like such gibberish to people that haven't seen the
Yeah,
movie,
they're like, what is this guy talking
dude.
about
In my
right now? What
head,
did
it
he say?
sounded perfect. Like in my head, I was like, oh, like you could say this and you're not going to give it away, but yeah. So that good movie, go see it. There we go.
Yeah, good movie. Good. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. It was an awesome eye opener. It was a great movie. Hits on a lot of things, and like you just want some mindless fun. Just go see the movie. It was. I'm loving this Monday review Fridays. I feel like we got to have popcorn next week, and maybe we'll do
Well,
that.
we should
Maybe
actually figure out which movie we're going to go see every weekend and then do
I was just gonna
it.
say, even if we want to keep the sales, hey, maybe we watch some sales movies. Maybe do Wolf of Wall Street or
Yeah.
Boiler Room or something like that, and we rewatch it
Oh,
every
yeah. Or a
Sun.
little Glengarry Glen Ross.
Ah,
Old
nice.
school. Old school. I
Ooh.
mean, it might be difficult to get through it, but old school.
Yeah,
Um,
that's you know what I'm so down for this. Because
yeah.
like so just for everybody who's watching out there and watching on the replay and listening to this on the audio downloads, for us we find like Mondays in terms of like engagement is always kind of a little bit low because everybody wants to start off on that Monday. I know myself if I was like a rep and stuff like that, I got to get my touches out. I want to set the week. Unless you're like Dan, who's like customer sends them like 100 POs Sunday night and it's just set it and forget it, so he's chilling. All the rest of us, we got to be always be working here, right? So I think the
Easy.
Mondays, we can keep it Mondays and Fridays. I'm loving everything that's going on with the book club. So many great feedback with it, and hey, man, we want to bring something completely different, because like at the end of the day, there's other logistics podcasts which are amazing. If you want to get to the nitty gritty of the data, you want to learn about life lessons and all that stuff. There's other places to do that, but we're the type to really have some fun and try to build that community. That's why we got amazing people like Stacy out here, and then Biasly, my wife, showing the love and stuff like that, and Lisa and everybody like that. So Dan, what are your thoughts, brother? What do you think, man? I like keeping this light on Mondays.
Yeah, I'm in. I love, you know what? I'm actually, here's the thing is I'm happy. So let me phrase this properly. I'm excited that movies are starting to come back. Like
Yes.
when just after COVID and all that kind of stuff, like there was very few movies that were interesting. We saw more come out on like Netflix and Apple, and kind of I saw this shift towards that series as opposed to movie theaters. But now I see a lot more movies, and I just hope that this whole Hollywood strike thing stops soon because it's putting a damper on production for movies. But when I'm like, I've never even heard of Strays until you told me about it on Thursday or something. And as soon as I watched the trailer, I was like, I'm in. And here's the thing. Here's another lesson for everyone out there. Look at the trailer of Strays and think about it like your social posts, right?
Okay.
So Strays is looking for a specific audience, right?
Yes.
Adults, um, mostly that has kids, but that is in that neighborhood of our age, right? Spanning the 25 years or whatever. And to me, it was like it's mostly people that love dogs because there's a great story all about dogs. And when you're watching dogs talk, you got to kind of, in my opinion, you got to love dogs. So they're addressing all of their markets in the trailer. Just go watch the trailer and think of that trailer as what kind of social posts am I going to put out this week? Right? Like how many companies do we see put out those typical like slides where it's like, oh yeah, we do this. So yeah, we do that. Oh yeah, we do this. So yeah, we do. And it's like, no, 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 no. That shock and awe of the trailer is like perfect. So I would suggest everybody go out there and watch it and emulate that when it comes to their social and getting customers' attention.
Yeah. You gotta. Well, Dan, you bring up such a great point. I love this. I saw Brent Arsuga said this like last year or 2 years ago. Was like, treat yourself or treat like the way you send out videos or the way that you present yourself like a movie trailer. So when you're talking to your customer, you want to be like a movie trailer. And what is the movie? Everybody says, "Oh, the movie trailer is always the good parts." And I feel like movie studios have gotten a lot better, especially Marvel, at not showing the best parts. Like look at all those amazing cameos over the years, and they don't spoil anything. So if you look
Yeah.
at like that movie trailer, I think about that too. Like think of a movie trailer as your cold call. Think about it as your email. Think about it this like when you look at a movie trailer, it's not like wordy. So don't send out like a 200 word email to a customer. It has some acting, it has some key points and stuff like that, but it's not gonna be like 2 minutes of a dialogue. So I love that you
Yeah.
said that. I think that's my big lesson for today too. Treat your sales, have fun with it. Treat sales because here's the thing. This might not work for like 9 customers, but it will work for one. Like you
Mm.
call 10 prospects, maybe one of them seen strays, and you could just talk like you're talking about the baseball thing. I talk dogs with people. Just find that similarities, and you'll make your life so much more fun and more not necessarily fun. I don't want to say that. It's more rewarding to work with the people that you want to work with, and that's really what our mission really here is to
Well, it
help
makes
you
the day
realize that.
more enjoyable, Ryan.
Yeah,
I think you're right when you said fun. I really do. I mean, and I think it's more the word that stopped you as opposed to the analogy and the meaning behind it. But I mean, I don't believe that we should go do anything for 8, 9 hours a day unless we really enjoy it and we're having fun doing it. And how do you have fun? You keep it, different. You keep it real. You don't. It's not mundane. It's not like, oh, here we go. Like we were just talking beforehand before we go. I'm looking at a whole new email series today, and I'm super excited about it because I get to rewrite kind of some pretty cool thing, and how am I going to incorporate that, and what kind of sequence am I going to build, and how am I going to structure it in Bridger so it's automate, delegate, delete, and I can use more time for other things until qualified leads pop.
yeah,
I think this is part of that creative piece we talked about at the beginning. If we're not creative in our days, if we're not creative with our quote unquote careers, I honestly believe this is where burnout comes from. This is where resentment comes from.
yeah.
It's where procrastination kicks in. And all of these are deal killers when when you have a major goal, right? And I don't know. I look at it and I think, no, it has to be fun. If I'm not enjoying myself in the day, I'd rather go work somewhere where I am, or
Yeah.
do something where I'm actually enjoying myself.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the most important pieces. Like sales is tough, logistics is tough. Like let's call a spade a spade. Like
Mhm.
what we do is tough. Some customers don't appreciate what we do. Some customers still don't think that, still think logistics is a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Um, sometimes you're fighting for $5 profit or for a truck order not used or a detention charge. And it's like, dude, like I've done the work, like everything I've done for you, and this is what I get. You know what I mean? Like it has to be fun. And don't get me wrong, there's gonna be it's like anything. It's like raising kids. It's like marriage. There's gonna be really great times and there's gonna be times where you argue,
Yeah.
where things aren't exactly the best. But it's what you do with it that turns it around. So if you just decided on your marriage, oh well, you know what, things aren't the best now, screw it. Well, then it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so is your ability to work in industry and live and create a life in an industry that's got amazing potential for anyone. Like it's not about degrees. It's not like brain surgery where you got to go to school for 15 years to learn how to, like, it's none of that.
People, baby.
And it's just
people.
Yeah, and just keep it fresh and keep it fun and enjoy yourselves. I mean, to me, that was one of the biggest messages of the movie was, you know, we have one life and keep it. And I don't mean to get so deep about a really fun movie, but just like Life of Pi, there's a message that you can always internally grasp in these movies.
Yeah, and that's what it meant to do. It's meant to do that, like, like we said with the title today. The good ones are out there. So think about that. Your customers, the relationship, your partner,
Yep.
the things that you want in life. The good ones are out there. You just got to keep your eyes open and go for it. And like,
Yep.
even if you can't howl, you can be like our buddy Hunter and howling.
He was funny. He was hilarious.
All
right, man.
All right, see you guys.
Mic drop.